All right. It looks like we're live right now. This is Serious Business with Stephen Beast. This is not going to be a normal episode. I am nothing prepared for this whatsoever. I haven't been paying attention to the news really at all for the past week. For those who have been. Oh, hey, somebody joined the Discord chat. Uh, what's up?
Hello.
Well, look who decided to join. It is Miss Guidance. Welcome to the conversation, Miss Guidance. I was just starting.
Hi.
I literally just started the. I just started the stream. Just started the introduction.
Yeah, maybe you should point out my meme I found.
Ah, true. I should.
Screechy meme that made me want to legit, made me very angry.
True. Hold on. Oh fuck. That's not what I meant to do. Let me full screen myself real quick and get this fucking meme. Is it the Sesame Street one? Or
Yeah.
I didn't even see this yet.
It's the top part that made me angry.
Oh fuck, dude. Wow.
Listen. Ow.
Okay, yeah. Let me fucking drag and drop this.
Cop snaps, abuses his own canine after he failed to find drugs after a stop. I actually found the article that this is from, and it turns out they pulled this guy over in the first place because his window tint was too dark.
Wow. That's fucked up.
Then he went and he beat up his doggo because he couldn't find any drugs. And I'm like, don't hurt the doggo like that. I can't believe it.
It's
so mad.
Fuck cops. But yeah, no, I was about to get into what the topic of this video is. The video is called The Cult of Trump. So I'm discussing it's something I haven't talked about a lot on my channel, just the general phenomena of Donald Trump in the political scene and the people who kind of follow him and the weird sort of cult of personality that's been formed around that. So, I don't know, do you have any thoughts on that to start us off with?
Well, I certainly know some people that are in this cult that are just, I used to be this kind of thing. Just anything that Trump did, even if I didn't like it, I have to defend it. Like, it was like stuff. Because
that's how I was too.
Because I thought, like, oh, he's on my side, I have to defend him. And then I realized, no, wait a second. That's dumb. No one's on anyone's side.
Yeah, no. Like, the thing is, I thought what Trump was doing was actually good. Because I listened to a lot of his campaign promises. Granted, I didn't get into him until, like, last year. Because I was...
yeah. I got into him after the vote. I got into him to get elected.
Allah Akbar.
Who just joined the chat? Who is this? I can't see the chat right now.
Hey, it's your boy. Allah Akbar.
What's up? It's your boy. So, yeah... You came just in time. We are streaming live on YouTube right now.
Yes,
live
and we're talking about the Trump cult.
Yep,
apparently, according to the title. I used to be a Trump tard, but then I stepped away.
All three of us were. Now
I went from, like, Trump skeptic to fuck yeah Trump to, like, what the fuck was I thinking?
Yeah.
It's when I started thinking about him and Israel is when I really started pulling away. And
that's what it was for me too. That was a big part of it. Was the whole all the pro-Israel shit that he's done. Like, I mean, every president's been pro-Israel, but like several people, including Zionists like Ben Shapiro, have pointed out that Donald Trump is literally the most pro-Israel president that the United States has ever had. And holy fuck, is there some competition? like, fuck, that's a hard thing to do.
Oh yeah, my dad has a question for you, Stephen. He wonders how you can be Christian and also not be a Zionist.
Well, because I don't personally think that the Antichrist should be summoned, and I don't think that the people who want the Antichrist to be summoned are going to be saved by Jesus coming, which is what they're trying to do. And beyond that, I don't think that Zionism is going to bring the Moshiach, or like, well, that's the That's the term for it in Hebrew. It's like the Jewish Messiah, essentially, who they see as the real Messiah, where Christians say it was Jesus, and they say that the Moshiach that is talked about in the Talmud, that is related to the temple prophecy in Israel, where they want to blow up the Al-Aqsa Mosque, build this temple because it will bring in the Moshiach. Christians think the Moshiach is the Antichrist. So Christian Zionists are literally trying to summon the fucking Antichrist
Whoa.
so that it will bring Jesus
Damn.
back. That's some real hard fucking truth. And they admit it. That's what Christian Zionism is all about. And the majority of Zionists are at least self-proclaimed Christians.
I don't know, man.
Another thing that made me start pulling away is when he, without any evidence or anything, like remember in 2017 or 2016 he like bombed Syria because like they chemical attacked their people. He just bombed them with on
Yeah, he was
impulse.
upset about the dead kids, and then they went and killed more kids.
Oh yeah, the gas attacks also. There was a we are
All
changed.
politicians are the fucking same. They just.
But the gas attack specifically, We Are Changed recently covered this. There were some documents that came out recently that were leaked that they had back when the gas attacks happened that completely proved that the government had nothing to do with it.
That's an oofer right there.
The Syrian government specifically had nothing to do with it.
That's a big oofer right there.
I
thought he was non-interventionist. I thought that's one thing I like. I like Trump's work.
And then he's like, "We're gonna."
That was a big thing. Oh yeah, but that was a big thing I liked about Trump in the beginning too, was that he at least preached to being a non-interventionist. Like when he met with Vladimir Putin that one time, and he said, "I'm not going to start a war for political purposes." Like I'm just sitting there like, holy shit. That is the first politician I've ever heard in my life actually say that.
The cojones of this man.
But it turns out that he was completely full of shit. And that he was...
You can't trust politicians, man.
Oh, yeah. Every single
no
one
matter
of them
how based they are.
Every one of them is a liar. Every single one of them is a paid liar. They are literally paid to lie. Just like the journalists on MSNBC, CNN. MSNBC is probably the worst. MSNBC and Fox, easily the two worst news stations on television. Also, two of the most highly viewed. Fox News being the first. I'm not sure if MSNBC is second or if they...
Boomer News?
Oh, Fox has been number one news in America for a while, as far as I know.
Because everyone's sick of the leftist media.
It's the biased liberal media. The thing they don't realize it, but the thing about that is it's kind of creating this weird proxy effect where it's like I
legit almost called Fox News Facebook.
But
I mean,
I don't know, Fox News.
People that watch Fox News go on Facebook. It's
Boomer Book. Boomer Book.
What a weird coincidence.
Oh yeah. And there's nothing like trolling boomers on Facebook. You ever want to see a room full of boomers get real mad real quick? 2 words. Free Palestine. Free Palestine. Everybody hates you in that room instantly. I dropped that in a pro-Trump group recently, and I'm still getting responses about it.
I had a 3-hour conversation last night with a neo-Nazi, and it was very interesting.
Really?
Oh, really?
Those are always fascinating.
Where do you find a genuine neo-Nazi? That's my question.
They were like,
Discord.
I was talking to them. I was talking to them about like my ex who's brown, and they were like, they were basically said something along the lines of, "You need to have white children." I was
like, we don't want white children.
Yeah, that's the whole thing.
What if I want beautiful mixed race babies? I don't understand.
Because their whole thing is like forced fucking. I can't think of the word. Why am I blanking on this word?
Like
it's such
breeding?
It's such like a basic word. Not breeding.
Segregation.
You get it.
Segregation.
No, it's broader than that. fucking
Eugenics.
like forcing yourself to fit in. I don't know why I can't remember the word for that.
Conformity?
Yeah, it's like fascism is the height of conformity, and National Socialism is basically just fascism with extra steps.
Fascism, but stylish.
And the thing is, I think I've said on this channel that I see America as a fascist country, and I have to admit I was wrong about that. We are a totalitarian country, and yeah, our democracy is for show, but we're not specifically fascist. Fascism is a
I was talking about
Yeah.
this with my dad with the police when I showed him that meme, and he's like, it's like, well, they don't make the laws and stuff, and it's like, yeah, we don't vote on the laws either. They're made by some fucking bureaucrat in some random office somewhere.
Oh yeah.
They're not made by us. We don't elect the real officials.
Half the time they're written by the bankers or some corporate entities or some shit like that.
Yeah, the politicians are just mouthpieces.
Like all the
For
corporations.
all these different interest groups.
Oh yeah, like
And
the corporations
they
own.
advocate for us.
The corporations write like all of the economic regulation essentially. Like Facebook is even talking about writing its own regulation now. They're also talking about introducing a fucking worldwide currency. One world currency from Facebook, cryptocurrency. And this is why I can't get down with Bitcoin or any of this shit that all these other libertarians and anarchists are all about. They're like, oh, I love Bitcoin. It's the state's weakness. That's why they made it legal. Wait, what? Fuck, no, that's 100% bullshit. It's state-controlled bullshit. I don't trust any cryptocurrency. All of it is suspect as fuck.
I don't know. I always thought it was just the stocks, but for millennials.
I mean,
It's like
it's like its own separate currency from the U.S. dollar. That's
so
what
confusing.
that's what
I don't
cryptocurrency is.
understand
Yeah, I don't really get how it works either, which is another reason why I don't buy into it. That and also because if you look at
therefore I don't like it.
if you look at the graph of what Bitcoin was worth, it like starts pretty up high and then it just drops out of nowhere, just boom, gone, plummets, nothing. And then it like jumps up to about half of what it originally was, and then it stayed there for a while. So that's another reason why I can't really get into Bitcoin. Because it's like it's kind of unpredictable when it comes to how much it's worth.
It don't make no sense.
That's why I say like we'd be better off. You're better off diversifying. Like if you're gonna go full prepper, which I honestly would recommend at this point. I haven't done it myself just because I'm a piece of shit and I can't motivate myself to do anything except smoke weed and talk to people on YouTube. But if you're going to go full prepper, I wouldn't recommend getting crypto because, what if they EMP us and the internet's gone? Boom, there goes all your fucking money, retard. All your money's on the internet. If there's no internet, you're broke as fuck. Get silver. Silver is probably the best kind of metal overall in terms when it comes to the balance between what it's worth and how much it costs at the moment. I have a little bit of silver. I want to get more. Silver and ammo, of course, is also important. Guns and ammo. Seeds as well. Seeds are very cheap, and you can get a lot of them at once, and you'll be able to grow your own food, and then the food will also oftentimes have seeds in them as well. At least, I don't know. Depends on the food.
Not bananas.
Oh, yeah. But, like, certain kinds of fruit that you can, like, grow. Or like pumpkins.
Strawberries are weird with how they grow.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
they're not tubers. What's the word? Of how they reproduce asexually.
Huh.
They their roots just branch out and then it sprouts another bush and then so on so on. And so they're all connected. It's freaky.
Wow, that's fucked up.
No, that's just weird. It's not that fucked up. It's just confusing.
Damn.
You can see a whole field of strawberry bushes, but they're all one organism. But actually, not one organism, but they're all connected.
Huh. That's fascinating.
I learned this in biology.
Well, damn. I guess the strawberries are like a hive mind.
Strawberries are
There is a vast international strawberry conspiracy. I'm just kidding. The strawberries are innocent. It's actually the Roman Jesuits that are responsible for everything, basically.
How is the Illuminati?
No, the Illuminati is its own separate group that kind of infiltrated the Freemasons, as far as I've been able to like dig up. But the Illuminati just kind of became like a catchphrase to summarize all the entire vast conspiracy. But the people who are really in charge, as far as I've been able to find it, it's like the descendants of Rome, essentially. All of the descendants of all of the royalty of Rome. They're essentially the ones who are.
You mean the aristocrats?
Yeah, they're the bloodline. Those bloodlines are still the ones in charge of the entire world, essentially. All roads lead to Rome. Rome never collapsed.
Mussolini got his dream after all.
Yeah.
He got what he wanted in the end.
So, what are we talking about now?
Mussolini, aka the worst. Like, not even like worst as in like just not even a cool fascist.
I didn't even learn anything. I didn't know who Mussolini was until last year. That's how good the fucking public education system is.
Oh yeah.
Dude, like, I mean, granted, he seems to be like relatively irrelevant other than inventing fascism.
He invented fascism.
I mean, well,
wanted to recreate the Roman Empire.
I mean,
that's about all I know.
I mean, he did get help from Gentile, though. Gentile was another philosopher that worked with Mussolini on the doctrine of fascism, and Gentile took a lot of influence from Karl Marx.
Oh.
And plot twist.
Every single
anime betrayals. Someone told the fascists.
And then Mussolini was also an ex-socialist, and I think Hitler.
I told you, it's so easy to flip them from one side to the other. It's scary.
That's the thing. Like, socialism and fascism have been consistently connected at the hip since the inception of the two ideologies. Wherever one has arisen, the other has always followed. Usually communism first, fascism second.
It's so freaky. I don't like it.
Yeah.
It's like a conjoined twin.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And they hate each other more than anyone. Like...
yeah, they're like the same people. They're like incest twins.
Well, no, there's big differences between the two, though, because, like...
One's more honest than the other.
You see, the thing is, communism is essentially totalitarianism, but for
pretending to be freedom.
But for like freaky people that want to do freaky shit and want to just turn everything upside down, it's essentially the inversion of reality. Like the
gay fascists.
Oh yeah. That's like the best way I've heard it summarized. Like, communism is just fascism for gay people.
This is so dumb.
Fuck, we went so far from the original topic. So we were gonna talk about the Trump. Okay, more specifically about the cult of personality that is formed around Trump, and the results.
We had it since like the 80s and 90s. I don't know why you're surprised that he has a cult.
Here's the thing.
No, but the political part of it is a new thing.
Yeah, here's the thing. They say they aren't echo chamber, like in their comment of other reviews, but they aren't really. They're really an echo.
But they're more like diversity of thought, as in like a hoe.
Yeah. You see, the thing is, they're all about diversity of thought, like, when it's on the right, essentially. When it's in the moderate, if you're on the moderate right to moderate left. If you're like if you sit in the Overton window, then you can go on the Rubin Report. And you can talk to Dave Rubin about how important it is to, it is important for us to have these conversations.
About the
regressive left is trying to shut down. The regressive left is trying to shut down these conversations. And I'm just trying to have conversations. It is so important that we have these conversations. I feel like this conversation is really it's like a meeting of minds to have this conversation. It's like this cosmic, intergalactical, 4D chess, conspiratorial conversation.
The regressive left.
Dude, 1791 just made this fucking hilarious video about just the absolute emptiness of absolute emptiness of Dave Rubin's head.
Yeah, can you like turn on screen share and then like play it for us?
I mean, I can just send it to you. I don't want to just straight play his entire video in my live stream. I'll send it to you afterwards.
Yeah, so we'll get in trouble.
Yeah, it would just be kind of rude. But yeah, if you're watching this, I can't even see the chat right now. I don't even have a tab open of the YouTube video that I'm currently starring.
We need to take a shout out to the chat.
Yeah, hold on. Let me full screen this and jump over to the YouTube real quick. Boom, boom, boom.
Oh.
Let's see if anybody's in the chat. Live stream. I'll send it to you afterwards.
Everybody in the chat. Everybody in the chat. Alex is a stupid.
Oh.
No more segregation. Can you be a Christian and a Zionist at the same time? Do they go together or have the same ideology? No, that's nature. I guess he's the only guy that had anything to say. Good on you. No more segregation.
Yeah, that's right.
No more segregation did nothing wrong.
No more segregation did nothing wrong. He literally has like.
Oh shit, he's here. I didn't even realize he was here. When
yeah,
did you get here?
The whole time. I just can't hear him.
Oh shit. Yeah, I couldn't even see the Discord that whole time because I had a picture of Trump open. I'm just gonna stay full screen. Here's open discussion.
I'm gonna stick the full screen.
What? I can't hear what you're saying, bro.
So no more segregation.
My push to talk wasn't working, I guess. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
What's up, man?
Not much.
Oh, this nature thing is the strawberries. It's nature. It's how they do, how they grow.
Hey, no more segregation. I think you have the video, the live stream playing, and it's playing through your microphone. I'm hearing
No,
everything.
I shut that down.
So I'm just echoing.
Okay, no worries. Echo.
Dude, nice BB gun, it's your boy.
you hear that?
Oh, dude, yeah.
Yeah.
It seems like I'm.
I made a joke with one of my friends last night. I was like, when Vox mentions transgender kids, time to commit a hate crime.
Ernie prepares to commit a hate crime. You guys remember the 11-year-old like drag kid? What's his name?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Desmond the Amazing, or Desmond is Amazing, remember?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You see, there have been very few times.
His family has a serious problem with people just continuously calling CPS on them. You know, technically as they should.
Dude,
but
yeah, like that's literally
like,
the definition.
please stop. Just stop. It's like, well, stop letting your child go to strip clubs and twerk for grown-ass men.
Dude,
Then
yeah.
we will stop calling CPS.
Yeah, no, that's literally the definition of child abuse. You know, they're making a documentary now specifically about, like, young kids who do drag. And they're trying...
Oh, God.
There's one point... I saw the trailer for it. There's one point in the trailer where this lady's like, you know, it just sickens me when people say that we're sexualizing these children. We are not. Drag is not about sexualization. Bitch, what the fuck is it about then? Explain this shit to me. How are you not sexualizing? If you take if you take a small boy and put him in a leotard, film him dancing around like nothing but a leotard, film him dancing around, shaking his ass, and you put it in a movie, you deserve to be fucking shot. I don't care.
Here's the thing, it's almost as weird as a child beauty pageant. It's almost as weird as a child beauty pageant.
It's weirder. Because you're dressing up a little boy as a little girl when they're too young to understand the complicated issue of transgenderism. It's not transphobic to say that kids are too fucking stupid to understand the complexities of the issue. And cannot, therefore, realistically make a decision about it on their own.
Apparently, it's wrong to say that it's. I actually talked to someone about this today. It's like, did you know that the World Health Organization says pregnant person instead of pregnant woman now?
Oh my god.
For fuck's sake.
Because some men can give birth, like 2 men in the
Okay,
UK
guys.
gave birth, but it's like they're still women, like biologically. Just because they identify as a man doesn't stop them from
Yeah, that's retarded.
XY chromosomes.
I
chromosomes.
I had KFC for dinner tonight, and I just got an ad on Instagram for KFC.
Big brother. Big
yeah.
Look at this. Look at this. I'm done.
Well, I mean, think about it. You're walking around with a little tracking device that hears you and sees you. Like, what do you expect they're gonna do with it?
I mean, look at that!
Smell you.
Dude,
They
yeah.
can smell your fear.
Hey, it's your.
What? Yes, sir?
You know that KFC is cloned chicken?
So.
I've never
Wait,
heard of
what?
that.
I've never heard that
still
either.
a chicken. It's still a chicken.
Yeah.
I heard
the chicken. No, but the chicken and all cloned chicken.
So it's a chicken.
Well, then you can eat my share because I don't touch that no more.
GMOs aren't that bad as people think they are. It's not like eating artificial slop. It's just.
I don't trust him.
It's not nah.
I mean, fuck. Like, the government couldn't even tell us the truth about whether or not it was safe to breathe the air after the Twin Towers were turned into dust in New York. Like,
it probably is because you got all that shit in the air.
It wasn't, but they said that it was.
That don't make no sense.
Yeah. Like, that's the thing. The government can't even tell us the truth about the air to breathe. Like, they're never going to tell you the truth about anything.
What's the correct air to breathe then, Steven?
Air that doesn't have building dust in it.
And now they're all on their way to Switzerland for the Bilderberg Group meeting.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I heard about that.
Remember when the BuzzFeed journalists infiltrated Sargon's server to write that hit piece about a server?
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck, was I in it? I didn't see that.
No, this was before you did it. But they, specifically, put in, white supremacist shit in there just to make it look like they're all white supremacists.
Oh, I've noticed ever since Sargon announced that he was running for PM, there's been way the fuck more alt-right. MP. Whatever, fuck you. Hey, fuck on you. Go fuck on you. Go fuck on you. Go fuck on you. Anyway, and he's running, ever since he announced he was running for MEP, I've been noticing a significant uptick in the amount of alt-righters in his server. Like, I don't know if it's just because everybody in the server who previously was a centrist normie just went full fash, which is why I'm not 100% sold on the idea that the left wing is wrong saying that Sargon is like a secret fascist.
He's not. He's like a Lockean, liberal.
Oh yeah, it just I don't know. He seems to lure people into the rabbit hole that leads them to fascism. Though that's something I've noticed. Just that's sort of a result of when you like direct people to go on 4chan's poll board. You significantly increase the chance.
I never said that.
What?
You never said to go on poll. That's
He talks about 4chan all the time. He glorifies it all the time. Like glorifies meme culture. Tries to make all of the like white
the
supremacy.
20-year Gamergate plan. Remember?
No, but he tries to make all the like white supremacy that's actually real white supremacy on 4chan and make it all seem like it's ironic, which kind of leads people to think, oh, okay, it's ironic, and then they go on the website. And then they end up in this echo chamber where they think it's ironic, and then after a while they start believing it. Because you can only say something ironically so many times before it just turns into you saying it.
How do you think I turned into an anarchist?
Oh yeah, like that's why I can't really get down. I've been trying to be less sarcastic lately, which is something I picked up from Owen Benjamin, who I mean, I probably shouldn't mention that I watch him on a YouTube live stream because now, like, people will defame me for it if anyone ever sees this, but fuck it. Those same people would be defaming me anyway. Owen Benjamin's he's a comedian who used to work in Hollywood who now just, like, he went out and got a fucking farm. Just out of nowhere. Just ditched all of his friends, got a farm with his wife and his kids. Started just like building fences, like got a bunch of animals and shit. Now he's growing his own food and all this shit. Like super hardcore prepper. He used to go on the Alex Jones show. Alex Jones would have him on for an hour at the end of every show. And he was literally the only thing that was keeping me thinking Alex Jones might not be a shill. Was just the sheer fact that Alex Jones let Owen Benjamin on his show and let him talk about the things that he talked about.
What's his name? He's like one of my
What? It's okay, take your time.
Oh, sorry, I got distracted because I was sending a text.
Oh, okay.
I don't remember his name, but he's like something Wilcock, and he's just the funniest human being.
David Wilcock?
Yeah, David Wilcock! He's got all this like shit about aliens, and I'm like, wow, he's so creative. I can really use this for my own sci-fi.
Yeah, I know that guy. He's a Q-tard. He's a bullshit artist.
Oh my goodness, I saw like this video, he's trying to explain the California wildfires, and it was just like...
Oh, dude, yeah, he 100% like he pushes the QAnon conspiracy theory. Like which I hate using the term conspiracy theory.
He is though, and you are, but you're a different kind, and you're like chill.
The thing is, people call me a conspiracy theorist, but I can prove the things that I talk about.
Yeah, you don't say shit that you pull out of your ass. You just say shit because you saw it somewhere.
Yeah, like most of my live stream videos that I've been doing, like the more recent videos when I started actually making good videos. I
blame all the drugs you did in your youth, and that's how you turned into a conspiracy theorist.
Well, I mean, fuck it.
Right, we're supposed to talk about Trump. I forgot, not drugs.
Okay, let's get back to the cult of Trump. So, no more segregation. Were you ever a Trump fan? Because everyone else here in the stream so far is a former Trump supporter.
For about the first year or two.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think I first started getting mad at Trump when he, like, legalized, like, lead ammunition for hunting. I'm like, dude, no, man. No. That's, like, really bad for the environment.
Oh, yeah.
Really bad for the environment.
Really want Hillary, you know.
Pokemon Go to the polls, remember that? And then Pokemon Go died.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think that now that we're in the year 2019, I don't think, so do you want Hillary is a valid argument anymore.
No.
Back in
No, it
2016,
does.
back in 2016, it was a valid argument. It's no longer a valid argument.
It never was a valid argument in the first place, because literally no one wants Hillary except for rabid,
Oh, yeah.
man-hating weirdos like my mom.
Yeah, like that's the thing. Like, I mean, yeah, same here. But yeah, like,
Hashtag me too.
pound me too. That's a pound sign. I don't give a fuck. I grew up when we had home phones. That's a pound sign. They're going around saying pound me too. Like, fuck. I mean,
I'm going to me too you, Steven. I forgot your name for a second. I feel so bad.
it's okay. It happens.
Just, I'm watching cool roller coaster videos.
Wow. But yeah, so Trump. So yeah, what was your falling out with Trump? No more segregation.
No, just I started watching him and started questioning what he was saying and doing. And
True.
I think the main reason why we all stuck to Trump as much as like what other people do is because if you criticize Trump, then you're automatically put with like the media with their fake criticisms. Like they're not
Oh,
real
yeah.
criticisms. Just well,
That's the
Russia.
thing. Like,
That never happened.
the thing is that the main problem is the primary opposition to Trump is so much worse that it makes Trump
So like
look like a
you can't have
genius.
valid criticisms. That why you can't
Like,
have like actual criticisms of the man
like
without being
I
the media.
think it's amazing how they've set up this weird sort of fake paradigm where you have the liberal media that is like 100% certified organic bullshit. And then you
Not
have
even organic. It's like artificial slop.
true. But
Because
then
if it's organic, then that's like a redeeming quality, and that's something they don't have.
you have Fox News, which is there
You mean
as
boomer news?
the Fox News is there to be controlled opposition because they're like watered down bullshit.
Yeah.
It's like
I'm
somebody.
still surprised you let
It's
Tucker
like
Carlson
somebody.
on because he's so based.
Well, Tucker Carlson's controlled opposition, like absolute controlled opposition.
But he was way like too close for comfort for those guys from switching to like white nationalists. He's like
Oh
close.
yeah, that's
So
on.
close.
I mean, we're talking about the
If
same.
they keep if these like quote unquote protesters keep like invading his home, he's going to make the switch. And
Oh yeah.
and everyone here knows it.
It's been he's been on a slow drift towards white nationalism for a while. And I've been saying that for a while, that he's secretly full 1488 and just waiting to whip out his massive white nationalist cock and jizz all over all of his fan base
How
live on
do I know
TV.
you're going to say those exact words? That makes me so mad.
I guess I'm a
Can't believe it.
predictable
You're
guy.
yeah, you're so predictable. Steven, get better memes.
I'm sorry. I like cock jokes.
Why? Because you got a cock?
Yeah. And I like
Why
it.
is your cock funny?
I mean, have you seen a cock? They're funny. They're weird looking fucking things. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, vaginas are funny too. You know, I'll be
Yeah,
equal opportunity. Both genders have funny genitalia.
I mean, boobs are pretty weird. They got really weird physics.
That's true, but boobs are awesome.
Boobs
They're
are
literally,
awesome.
there is not a human being on the face of the earth that doesn't like boobs. Straight men like boobs. Gay men like boobs. Straight women like boobs. Gay women like boobs. Babies like boobs. Little kids like boobs. Teenagers like boobs. And adults like boobs. Everybody likes boobs. Except for the Muslims!
I'm gonna die. You should really make a clip of that. You're just ranting about boobs. And you stick that on as a separate video.
Yeah, I'm so glad my parents are gone right now. Holy shit.
Everybody likes boobs, except for those goddamn Muslims.
Like,
Hide the titties.
honestly though,
It's
like,
some sort of magic trick. Like if they put it under that black burqa cloak, it's gonna go away. But the boobies are still there. You can't hide them. They'll always be there.
it's true. But to bring it back to Republicans though, but while still remaining halfway on the same subject, Muslims. Republicans fucking hate Muslims. Like, it's not like I'm critical of some of the tenets of their religion, but I respect them as a people. No. A lot of the ones I've talked to, obviously,
Some people want to legit genocide them.
oh yeah.
Even the women and children.
Obviously, hashtag not all, but I've seen plenty of, like, the more hardcore Trump supporters in, like, the Zoomer, Millennial, and Gen X sort of pond that are really into Trump and really active on the internet and have, like, pro-Israel Pepe memes, which is just the height of normie bullshit. Like,
Normie edge.
like, just imagine being such normie that you have a pro-Israel Pepe. But
That's not even a spicy meme.
like, that doesn't even make sense. That just, it's, speaking as far as the genres of memes go, that is a contradiction of memes.
Pepe is against literally everything. He is anti-everything.
Oh yeah.
Anti-gay rights. Anti-just human rights in general. Anti-just everything. He does not stand for anything like...
But yeah, but back to Republicans hating Muslims. But like, I remember seeing a lot of people in the Facebook group that I'm in. I won't name it because I honestly, like, the guy who's in charge of it, he seems like an okay enough guy. He's just kind of a dumbass more than anything. I can't tell if he's a shill or not. I don't normally like to assume that somebody's a shill before I have, like, any piece of hard proof. Like, when it comes to Tucker Carlson, it's easy because he works for Fox. So it's like right there. You don't need to ask any further questions. He works for Rupert Murdoch. You can't work for Rupert Murdoch and not be a shill.
I don't know, I just don't like how the ladies have to wear such short skirts for the Uber erection.
True. That's the other problem with Fox News.
Even when I was younger and I saw my dad watch it, I'm like, why do the ladies have to have such short skirts when the men wear like full-length pants?
Alright. Like, I don't know. I don't know if it's just like a conservative women thing where they're just trying as hard as they can to fit into, like, their gender role because of how conservative they are.
They're so like traditionalist.
But I don't know. As I've said here on my show many times, and as I'll probably say again, conservatives are fucking retarded. So I don't really care what they do.
The left is retarded. The right is retarded.
Everybody's basically retarded and a communist except for me.
Exactly.
Like, oh, you want to build a wall? You're a commie. Like, literally, government is a socialist institution. That's just a fact. You can't change my mind. There's nothing capitalistic about the state. It's entirely anti-capitalist.
They don't compete. They're a monopoly, which is capitalist.
Yeah, exactly. There's nothing capitalist about the state. It's an entirely socialist institution. Calling it anything else is just a lie, essentially. So basically, any statist is also a socialist, to some extent. I'll admit it's moderate communism. I will give you that. Communism. It is very moderate communism when you have a government. That in and of itself is a moderate position. You're still a communist, but you're a moderate communist. And that's okay. I can work with you.
Yeah.
Because eventually you're going to have to pick a side. But yeah, no. So after that whole back to Republicans. After the whole the mosque shooting in New Zealand, there were a bunch of people like making jokes about it in the Facebook group, like tons of people sharing memes about it and shit. And of course, we have all the crusade jokes too, which that's just an obvious one. But then it got so bad to where the admin had to come in and say, like, you guys can't joke about this, we'll get kicked, or it's gross and you'll get the group kicked off the site. And
Boomer book.
and everybody responded like, this ain't the first time you cucked and shit like that. I don't even like calling people cucks anymore.
Cause that's like a white nationalist word. They
Oh no, it was different when it was just the white nationalists that were using it, because I have no problem taking it from white nationalists and using it for my own purposes, because they're cucks too. The problem really started when the Republicans started using it. Like,
they twisted our word pool, our meme pool.
yeah, I don't care. I would rather have a conversation with a fascist than a Republican. Like almost 9 times out of 10.
Yeah,
It is-
because at least they like try to like.
Yeah, like I mean,
the thing.
they're incorrect, but they're less likely to be a chest-beating chimpanzee who doesn't know anything. The Nazis, every National Socialist I've met has either just been an edgy retard or a chest-beating chimpanzee. Basically, just like Republicans. But self-proclaimed fascists are slightly more okay. They can have a tempered conversation. That's my whole thing, is I can have a
That's the one thing I don't like about myself. I get emotional way too fast with these kind of conversations because I just get triggered by stupid, you know?
Well, I mean, it happens to everyone. My thing is, like, I've spent so much time, like, on the internet learning about all this fucked up shit and just trying to push and see, like, where all the taboos are and try to understand what makes them taboo and kind of poke fun at them and use them as a means to piss people off. So I've just gotten to the point where taboos basically don't mean anything to me when it comes to conversation. Like, I've had like 30-minute conversations with women who are like unbelievably hot about taking a shit. I don't give a fuck. I'll talk to anyone about anything as long as they don't start fucking screaming about it. That's the thing I hate, is when someone can't just have a chill, tempered conversation and they just start going, Israel's our greatest ally!
This is what this stream has become. Chimpanzee noises.
Okay, well, No More Segregation just asked if he could get a minute to say what really did it for Trump. So let's let him say it.
Do. It's clearly more interesting than monkey noises.
Yeah, short as possible. So, when Hurricane Florence, which near hurricane, hit down here, because I'm in North Carolina, and I decided to run up to New York with my dogs because it's a little cooler up there, and all I'm gonna be able to out. Anyway, and they just pretty much stole it off the side of the highway. I had more time allotted. They were like, "Oh, can you prove it?" And this, that, the third, I called the governor and I called Trump, and was telling me he don't care about the. That's what really did it. Was single fucking automated email, like, you know, saying, "Oh, this is the staff and we're handling his emails and we're gonna get back to you," but I never heard nothing back.
Huh. Damn. Yeah, no, that would do it for
Really
me.
be like that, huh?
I don't know, but really did
me, my mom,
I'm sorry.
my 70-year-old mother, and my 3 dogs are only mode of transportation, and like it really got stolen off the side of the highway. because it wasn't there past the amount of time that you're allowed to leave your broke down vehicle on the side of the highway.
Huh. Well, damn.
Oh, you have kids?
That's
The worst segregation. You got kids?
I mean-
Segregation. You got kids?
What's that?
you're also.
Did
you're
you say that you had
echoing
3 kids?
No, my 3 dogs, my kids.
Oh, your
Yeah.
dog.
again. But yeah, I
The
don't know.
troopers said, "Oh, well, if it's there more than 2 days, like, if you look up the ordinances, you're allowed like 72 or 90 or some shit like that."
Damn.
And I had digital proof that it was only been there for not even.
I mean, I don't know. It sounds like kind of a stupid law. Like you can only have this here for this amount of time, and then it becomes illegal.
What time is it? It's almost 10. I should really be going to bed.
Yeah, it is getting kind of late. We've been going for like 50 minutes now.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm sorry I have to go early.
All right. I'll catch you on the flip side, Miss Guidance. Thanks for coming on.
Get you on the flip side. Have fun.
All right. No more segregation. It is just us now. Let's talk more about Trump, I guess. So I don't know what did it for me personally was it got to a point where I started learning about like the war in Yemen and the shit that was going on there, and how we're basically helping the Saudis create the worst humanitarian crisis. That, on top of all the pro-Israel shit and giving Israel the Golan Heights, moving the capital and moving the embassy to Jerusalem, and all this shit, like all the heating up of tensions with Iran, the appointment of John Bolton too. Just as soon as he appointed John Bolton, that was basically a declaration of war on the spot, which I didn't even know about John Bolton until much more recently. And I don't know, my first experience learning about him was basically just learning like, oh, he's literally the biggest neocon in the world. Like he makes George W. Bush look like Noam Chomsky, as Kyle Kulinski said. So because I was into Trump because he seemed to be like down with the whole like non-interventionist thing, but then he quite clearly was down with intervening all over the place on behalf of Israel, as usual.
I mean, he's to make America great again, but he didn't do any of the things that I thought he was.
Yeah, I mean, like, he's made some progress on the wall, which I always kind of thought was a fucking stupid idea in the first place. But other than that, he hasn't really accomplished a whole lot.
Yeah, the whole wall. He's got Trump towers like all over the different countries. Like there's one down in Venezuela, there's one over in Russia, and all over like that. And the wall, that's just another thing, another structure. That's a big structure for him, a big project for him to put it. I think that's all. That's really believe that's the reason why he went.
Oh yeah, I've heard a lot of people say that before too, because that does kind of fit the Trump persona. A lot of this seems to just be kind of a publicity stunt. Oh, what's up, Crazy Cocktails? We're live on YouTube right now. How you doing, my dude?
I just wanted to add something.
What was that? Hello?
Shit, sorry.
Yeah, your mic's being retarded.
Sorry. I was watching the YouTube video and the audio was just screwed up on my end, so I couldn't tell who was talking when because the video is behind. The live stream is behind. Like a couple.
Yeah, it usually does that.
Yeah. So what I wanted to say was Trump has always been an interventionist. He's just never communicated his foreign interventionist belief, but he's always been for domestic interventionism. He's always been for tariffs. He's always been for the border wall, right? He's always been for abortion regulations, things like that. He has always been for interventionist. It's just that most people are too stupid to realize it.
Oh yeah, I completely see what you're saying. That's the thing. Like when I say non-interventionist, I'm referring specifically to foreign policy and like intervening in other countries. Like the existence of government in and of itself is already intervention. So I mean, you really want to get right down to it. But yeah, in this specific instance, I'm referring to foreign policy decisions, mostly on the behalf of Israel. Actually, like almost basically entirely Israel and the Saudis.
But if he's a domestic inter, it only makes sense that he would be an interventionist as well.
Oh yeah, of course he would be. I don't know. He's just a liar.
I mean, like with China, what kind of consequences have to deal with because of the tariffs he put on China?
Exactly. Tariffs are just another form of international interventionism.
Oh yeah.
Not in use, but in effect.
Yeah, that's why they use the language of war every time they put tariffs down on anything. Right? They call it a war. They call it a fucking trade war. They act like they're fighting in this noble battle against China by putting tariffs on it. That the United States citizens have to pay. That they're the ones who pay the fucking tax.
We're fighting against cheap goods. We're fighting against good prices. That's what.
Speaking of this, Trump announced his escalating tariffs against Mexico until illegal immigrants stop.
Yeah, 5%. I read that earlier.
Yeah.
Yep. Nobody understands economics, and the people who understand economics the least seem to be the people who are going around saying you don't understand basic economics the absolute most. Because honestly, like
it's usually the facts who are like, if we give more welfare for the poor, they'll have more money to spend. But where are you getting that money from? Because you're taking it from the savings of someone else. And that person who actually earned their money would probably be better at spending their money and investing it than the person who was just given the money. And that's not even taking into account for the inefficiencies of bureaucracy and what is lost in that forced transaction.
Oh yeah. Like the few $1 billion that were declared missing a few days before a plane crashed into the exact part of the Pentagon that they were investigating it in. And when I said plane in the live stream, I did air quotes for those of you who are in the chat and can't see my air quotes, because there was literally no plane that hit the Pentagon.
Yeah, we just talked about that the other night. What, 2 nights ago?
Well, not 2 nights ago, but I know we talked about that in the live stream recently. How no plane hit the Pentagon.
Yeah, my older nephew, a classmate, had research project that it wasn't an air.
Yeah, well, I don't think the government is above false flag attacks, but I generally like to see evidence before I make such accusations, because if I'm wrong or I can't prove my point, I just look like a fucking moron.
Yeah.
So sending me any sources so I can look at this before I just go say, oh yeah, Stephen Beast told me that the 9/11 attacks were on the Pentagon were faked.
Oh yeah, it's in you can watch either Loose Change 9/11 or Zeitgeist is another good documentary where they go over this, because the thing is, there's only one shot that was ever released to the public of the plane hitting the Pentagon, and it's such a close shot to the Pentagon that all you actually see is some object flying towards the Pentagon, and then it explodes. And then the hole that it leaves was nowhere near the size of a Boeing 747. And there were like almost no remains of the plane itself. Like there, I think they found like an engine laying around, and like a couple other little scraps. But I guess the rest of the plane just disappeared. And also, to get to the exact position that it was at, the plane would have. This is in the official story too. I'm pretty sure the plane would have had to make a full 360-degree corkscrew turn to come exactly level with the ground, take out multiple like street lights without the plane getting knocked down by it. When a plane is made out of very light metal, so if it crashed into a light post like that, it probably would have at least thrown it slightly off course. It wouldn't have just flown straight through it. And then it came exactly level with the ground in just the exact right moment to crash into the exact part of the Pentagon where they were investigating the money that, what's his face? Fucking Donald Rumsfeld had just declared missing. They never figured out where that money went. Someone asked him about it, and he said a bunch of bullshit words that made absolutely no fucking sense. We'll probably never know what happened to that money. Maybe it was.
That's like the gold under the tower before the, and then afterwards it said in Loose Change 9/11 that all the gold was gone. It was missing. It wasn't underneath all the rubble.
Huh. I don't remember that. That must have been one of the later editions of Loose Change. I know they made a few, but yeah, it's funny though because when they
May have been. It may have been, but I remember distinctly. It wasn't down there in the vault underneath the towers. It was.
Wow, that's fucked up. Fucking I know when they got Osama bin Laden, he had Loose Change on his computer along with a bunch of other like 9/11 truth documentaries. And he also had a PDF copy of Bloodlines of the Illuminati on his computer, which that's why it's now on the CIA website. Oh, I just farted like 4 or 5 times in a row right there. I don't know if you guys could hear that through the stream or not, but wow, that was satisfying. But yeah, no, there's a whole bunch of sketchy shit
Not
around
this time,
9/11.
but I had.
Yeah, 9/11. No, it's like it's one of those things where like if you were born like way before 9/11 and you were like kind of an adult, then you're far more likely to just 100% believe everything about it was true, and like you can't question any amount of the government's story for it. Like my experience whenever I end up talking to some boomer, whether they be a literal boomer or just a boomer in spirit, about how 9/11 was like quite clearly we were quite clearly lied to about 9/11. All the facts point to that. The first thing every single one of them jumps to is, "Oh, I know what I saw. I mean, I saw the plane crash into the building." You're like, "Are you saying the plane wasn't there?" And I don't know why all of them think that the 9/11 conspiracy is that there were no fucking planes. I've heard like 2 people in my entire fucking life say that there were no planes on 9/11. That's retarded.
I imagine that
9/11 didn't happen at all, guys.
theory played up to make conspiracy theorists look dumb in general.
Oh yeah.
I mean, conspiracy theorists, I'm not sure about that part, but I am saying that is more played up in the media, not because of anything, just because it makes a far more interesting story. Like, look at the morons and laugh at them, you know?
That's true. Hey, what's up? Reven Lime just joined. We're streaming live on YouTube right now.
I know. I thought I'd just check in and say hello, see what the discussion is.
Yeah. I mean, the video is called "The Cult of Trump," but we've like barely even talked about Trump. So,
Yeah, we.
Oh, yes, I saw that, though, but then I heard the 9/11 gibberish, but what's going on otherwise?
Well, I mean, yeah, we were just talking about how much of an inside job 9/11 was. And how Osama bin Laden had all that sketchy shit on his computer. But yeah.
He's dead. Who cares?
Well, as far as we know. I've never seen a picture of his body, have you?
Nope.
Oh, there you go.
But Some things have to stay secret. I can tell you from holding a security clearance myself.
Yeah, true.
Let's see. I see the news cycle is rehashing itself back on the Mueller nonsense, though. Otherwise,
Yeah, I have not paid attention to the news cycle this week. I've been on like a hiatus just because I needed to clear my mind for a little bit, do some soul searching. Yeah.
Yeah.
Make sure I didn't go crazy from like constantly spending all my time thinking about the fact that World War III is about to happen. Or whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Well, it's just funny.
There's a whole lot of possibilities. None of them are good.
Yep. Yeah, that's all that's on my mind right now. Since they've gone quiet about Trump's tax returns, they're going back on all that Mueller stuff when he spoke for 10 minutes, like what, yesterday?
Dude, yeah, like who the fuck gives a shit? I stopped giving a shit about Robert Mueller before the investigation was even over. I was like, this is literally a joke. They're completely doing this for show.
Yeah, me too, but
And literally, they're wasting
he made it
millions of tax
official
dollars.
yesterday.
What?
He made it
And
official
they're
yesterday, though.
Yeah, I saw John Ward's video talking about it. That's about how much I care at this point. I don't want to watch actual mainstream press talk about Robert Mueller. I just want to watch some dude on the internet make fun of him.
Yeah, I actually watched the actual conference. It was like 10 minutes, but pretty much he said, here's what I got. This is my report. I'm not going to testify about it. This report is my testimony. I'm not answering any questions. I'm going to shut the fuck up. I'm going to retire. Call it a day. This office is closed.
Boom.
I'm like,
The one thing I find
sounds good
the
to
one
me.
thing
Go
I-
ahead.
the one thing I find annoying about it is like the millions of dollars that have probably been wasted on this investigation.
Oh yeah, you know it, dude. Everything
Our
that
taxpayer dollars.
the government can't blow its fucking nose without wasting $1 million.
Yeah. I mean, that's not the only thing we've wasted money on. I mean, I think it was like quite a while ago, I dropped on one of your channels that USAID website. I'm like saying, here's a map of where all our money goes to other countries.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah,
That's actually something I'm throwing together actually because my final for my current college class is actually this weekend, and that's one of the things I talk about. Like, look at all this foreign aid money.
Oh yeah.
And these are countries that don't. These are countries like some of them do something for us, but some of them don't. We throw billions of dollars at countries that don't do anything for us in return.
Yeah. Like the thing
Yeah,
is, I always thought it was funny how we're funding Israel and then we're also funding every single enemy of Israel.
it's
Yeah.
funny.
They're the third highest recipient. The highest recipient, though, as of late, is Afghanistan. They get the most.
Huh.
Yeah, some of these countries I don't understand like why we're supporting them. Like they're so out. They're like so. They don't do much, and they're just out there doing whatever. And we're just like
Just let
they're
their
on the other
fucking
side of the world. I'm just like
let
what?
their economy do what it has to do and let them fucking figure their shit out. The US needs to stop sticking its dick in the Middle East. We've been doing this for a long fucking time. The Middle East was a much different place before the United States stuck its star-spangled cock in its mouth and just fucked the shit out of it for decades. And we need to stop.
Yep. Well, I mean, the whole aid thing in particular I was talking about, though, that money goes worldwide. It's like 209 countries right now, I think.
Holy
Didn't I
shit.
start going to shit?
Like
with that?
here's
Like a good
Like,
several million even goes to Russia and China.
Why?
I don't know. I did not sign or read the mutual agreements that they made saying, here's your economic aid, air quote.
okay. So one of these. Okay, Egypt gets 1.5 billion dollars in aid from us, which is like second from like it's like second from
Top three
So-
in order. Top three in order. From last I checked, it's Afghanistan is first, then it comes Iraq, and then Israel, and then there's everyone else.
Well, I'm looking at the map right now. It says right here it's Israel, then Egypt,
What year is it?
then Afghanistan.
Is that this year?
Didn't the Middle East kind of start going to shit whenever they overthrew the Shah? Not because of the United States, because a bunch of
In Iran?
Yeah, Iran. I don't think it was.
Because Iran, everybody was just like, oh, fuck no, we don't want to become westernized.
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
But then at the same time, too, you look at Afghanistan before the whole Soviet Union war, it was very Western.
Oh yeah.
And then
What happened?
the commies took over, and everybody's like, what? Fuck no, we don't want this state atheism shit. We're a Muslim country. And then it was just a fucking explosive shit mess from there up until today.
The United States gave
Yeah.
funding to a terrorist organization, the Islamic,
Yeah, but we didn't know they would turn on us after the fact. That was the
to fight
Yeah.
against.
that was the kind of catch too. We didn't know, like, oh, maybe in 20 years come back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
When you fund a terrorist organization to destroy a terrorist organization, you funded to
Can't predict
destroy
the
a
future.
terrorist organization, you funded to destroy a
It-
terrorist organization.
We had no idea they would turn on us. That was a big catch because we were just like, oh, this is the current trend. You know, we got to get the commies. We didn't think ahead, like, oh, maybe Muslim extremists might come for us next.
Yeah.
So
Alright.
the way I see the war on terror is just a substitute for the Cold War. We took the commies out, now we have a new great eternal enemy.
No,
Honestly-
the war on terror is for exactly two reasons: Saudi Arabia and Israel.
Yeah, that too. But at the same time, too, if you really think about it, it's just a substitute for the Cold War. It's just going to go on until we find a new common enemy.
Oh yeah, but it was all planned out too. Like in
Oh yeah,
And
I mean, I
like,
get that.
see-
I get what you're saying there, but
Yeah.
at the same time, we got to have that big, long, eternal enemy.
oh yeah, that was a big part of it. There was a teacher I had in high school who thought 9/11 was an inside job. He never said it outright, but a friend of mine asked him about it, and he was like, "America needed an enemy."
Which is what I just said. Yeah, we
Yeah.
got to
It's absolutely true.
substitute for the commies after a 10-year break period after the Cold War.
They even refer to it in the Project for the New American Century when they talk about the new Pearl Harbor event that could accelerate the foreign policy ideas that they want implemented, that they discuss in the PNAC in the document. It's a long ass document. I still haven't read the whole thing, but it's like they talk
Penguins
about.
are dangerous. We should get them next.
a lot of the shit in the international world can be traced back to the First World War, which led to the rise of the Soviet Union. You know, the rise of communism, and the rise of communism, and all the result of World War One led to the rise of fascism, which led to a Second World War, which led to communism taking over Eastern Europe, which led to the Cold War, and the Cold War led to us funding a terrorist organization, which then led to 9/11, which then led to all the shit we're involved in today.
Oh, guess what else? Guess what else came out of World War One? Guess what else came out after World War One? Drum roll, please.
Israel.
Israel.
Go, let it out. Try getting it out.
Israel.
Israel.
Well, yeah, World War II.
Yeah. Well, no, that was
Israel.
end of World
Israel.
War One was when Israel was
Yeah.
founded. World War Two is just what got all the Jews to move to Israel.
Yeah, it was the big apology gift.
Yeah.
Hitler was the ultimate Zionist.
Sorry, we tried to
yeah.
wipe you out. There you go.
Apparently, there were people who were close to Hitler that said that he was a Bolshevik and a Zionist, but I don't know. I still have to see a source for that before I want to put my name on it. But
Yeah.
I wouldn't necessarily doubt it because I mean, fuck, the man's a walking advertisement for Zionism, if there ever was one.
He didn't explain that one. What he was trying to say was that
He wanted-
Hitler's act during World War II, the Holocaust, led to the motivation for a lot of European Jews to flee to Israel.
Oh yeah. And
Yeah.
Israel was also founded by the Rothschild family, basically. The Balfour Declaration was written to Lord Jacob Rothschild, and they just so happen to control all of our central banks. And after the United States fought a revolution, basically to get away from the European central banks, the European central banks then came back and took us over. And now, the European central banks have their homeland back, even though they never lived there. And that's proven.
Yeah. Well, somebody mentioned the centralized banking thing too. I mean, when Andrew Jackson killed the second bank of the United States, we actually had money in the bank and no debt.
Oh, yeah, dude. That's the thing. If Andrew Jackson Andrew Jackson has to be rolling in his fucking grave right now, knowing that they put
Oh,
his
yeah.
knowing
Yeah.
they put his face on a $20 bill.
Because he's actually like, I mean, he's like what, the founder of the Democratic Party. He's actually like my favorite Democrat in history in this country because he actually got shit done.
He killed the banks.
He killed the bank. He said that on his deathbed.
Oh, yeah.
I can really think of a couple presidents that I would actually somewhat like. I think that was Andrew Jackson, Grover Cleveland, and the quiet guy.
Jimmy
the-
Carter.
No, the 30th president, Coolidge, Calvin Coolidge.
Hey, what about my man's Thomas Jefferson, though?
I suppose, but one of his actions did really expand the power of the of the executive branch of the federal government. That was the Louisiana Purchase. Him pushing it past Congress without their approval seriously expanded the power the president has, and I think a lot of the modern extreme seriousness people take the presidency as its root, his actions. He had a lot of good ideas, but he wasn't a good president.
It was manifest destiny, bruh. Gotta go west.
We got to oppress those Native Americans. You know,
They're living happy. They got their casinos. That's how I pay my reparations to them.
It's true.
disappointing what happened to the Native American world. I just have to say,
Yes, in all seriousness, yes, I agree with you there. But
a lot of the Native American civilizations were, specifically in this Mesoamerica and the South Americas. The Incan Empire is very interesting. I like to research it. The Incan Empire was called the Roman Empire of the pre-Columbian world, the New World. They didn't even have a writing system, and it's a mystery as to how they could manage such a large empire. One of the theories is that they had these things called quipus, or chipus, or however you want to pronounce it. What they were little beads, and they were theorized to be a simple accounting measure, but some people theorize that they are actually a writing system.
oh,
They use the threads, the way they wrap the threads around each other to write stories and to record information, not just accounting stuff. And that's theorized how they could manage such a large empire. They also had the thing called terrace farms, and because they lived in a very mountainous and hilly area, but they had such a large population because they innovated and they made terrace farms, which is like.
I want to take a moment real quick. Welcome Appa to the chat. What's up, Appa? We're streaming live on YouTube right now, just so you know. If you
cool.
uh,
Muted his mic, but I mean, what happened to like peoples in this hemisphere is fucked up. But the consequence of globalization over time. Back then, I mean, when the Europeans moved to Asia, and then everybody turned into this hemisphere. It's the whole exchange of diseases. Is what really fucked it up too, though. So that's the big cost that came along with it.
Fucked over Europe.
Yeah. Because it's like, hey, look at all these diseases nobody in this area has never been exposed to. That's just
And also,
it's a consequence that's going to happen no matter what you do, even especially at that time. Consider modern medicine with that.
Absolutely. But I mean, that said, I'm not sure when smallpox blankets became a thing. I'm pretty sure that was
no, I don't think it was
Native American conflict.
The Native Americans actually could have resisted colonization had there not been the smallpox epidemic that wiped out 90% of the population, because the Incan Empire was in a civil war and they had been wiped out by the smallpox epidemic, and they still put up a fight against the Spanish conquistadors. Well, the civil war just finished. So I think it really could have been that they actually could have resisted colonization from the foreign European powers had there not been a smallpox epidemic, just due to the sheer numbers advantage.
That's true, too. Yeah. I mean, on one hand, the Europeans have the technological advantage of having guns. But on the other hand, a gun takes a lot longer to reload than a bow and arrow. At least back then it did. Like a gunpowder musket, that takes a lot longer to reload. But the white people also had like more like, they probably had a little bit more like intensive training, more focused training when it came to like combat, specifically than Native Americans might have. And
Yeah, but biology prevailed
yeah, true.
because you get two people who've never been exposed to each other's germs. And
Oh
yeah,
and that's the
I
thing.
mean, we're kind of past that phase now. Modern world where we can just wipe people out like that just by sneezing on them, but that's just the way it was at the time.
There's an island in the Pacific. I don't remember what it's called, but it is the last area in the world where contact with the modern world has not been established. It is.
Fuck! Didn't they like kill somebody who went there a while? I think it was someone else.
They probably could be wiped out by disease if we were to contact them. That's why you don't.
Yeah, they killed somebody. Fuck! What was the name of that?
It was the North Sentinelese Island or something like that.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, they were the guys that shot that dude with a bow and arrow.
Yeah, hang on, let me look it up. Yes, Sentinelese Island in India. Yeah, that's it. Uncontacted people. Untouched by modern
Yeah, so he's gonna go there and preach the gospel.
Yep. Oh yeah, that's interesting.
Oh
Yeah, that's right. Oh yeah, and India has their little protection law for them.
Yeah.
Well, all right.
Yeah.
Well, it's like almost 10.
Okay, wait, real quick though. Yeah, just to refresh the memory. Yeah, it was a fucking missionary who went there and said he went there and he got killed when he was there illegally.
Damn.
It's like, do you have a moment for the word? Do you have a moment for Jesus Christ? Nope. Here's this arrow.
Damn.
Rip.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, at that point, I can't even feel bad for you. Because, like, what the fuck do you think's gonna happen?
I think those people, no, not collectively, have a claim of ownership over the island in the same way that everybody else has a property claim to land.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah, but this in particular, though, I just read too, like, there's a special law that says, hey, nobody goes on this island, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
People, whenever
nobody can legally go there because they're uncontacted people. It's like, leave them the fuck alone, let them stay in their ancient time.
I think communication is probably one of the most important things for establishing a right. Because if you cannot communicate your right over something, people can just trample over you and you'll have no one to back you.
Yeah, there's no clear boundaries and everybody's shooting at each other knowing nobody knows where the line is drawn, then yeah, you kind of got to figure that out.
I do believe, though I'm not entirely sure, that there are some uncontacted tribes in the Amazon, but they're very few and far between.
Yeah,
Or most.
Want to go and find? Want to go with me and find out for Jesus Christ?
Well, it's about 10:30 where I'm at right now, so I think I'm gonna close down the stream. But you're all welcome to stay in the voice chat if you want to. But yeah, that's gonna be it for all y'all watching the stream. All of the 0 people watching the stream right now. I hope you all enjoyed it very much. I'll catch you on the flip side.